Hello, today we're going to discuss two of the areas that are most challenging for defending and preparing an asylum claim. The first one concerns testimony and proving your claim. It is very difficult to prove a claim because many applicants only have their testimony, their word, when they are applying for asylum. And many come to this country unprepared. They don't bring documents with them. They don't bring proof that they were in the hospital, that they reported it to the police. So they have a difficult time having the judge believe that what they're saying is true when they don't provide additional evidence. But you can still win a case just on your testimony, but that also can bring complications. Usually people, when they're entering the United States and they're stopped by immigration officials at the border or at the airport, are given a credible fear interview. And in that interview, they're asked questions about the reason they are coming into the United States, whether they have a fear of persecution, what happened, when it happened, who was persecuting them. And often they tell a different story, or they don't give all the facts, and later on that evidence can be used against them in immigration court or in an immigration proceeding affirmatively if they if they filed an asylum affirmatively, and then later on at the interview, they tell a different story. So it's very important to have your information before you leave your country. And if you're a family member here and you know someone who's fearing persecution and likely to come to the United States, it's good to tell them that they have to bring proof with them, and they have to make sure that they have all the details, the when, the where, the why, who, all these things, what that would happen to them, how they were persecuted. If they leave that information out when they're initially interviewed, they could be problematic later on. Also, sometimes people apply affirmatively and that gets denied, and then they get sent to immigration court, and then they start remembering facts that they should have stated previously in their application and at their affirmative asylum interview. So it's very important to have your facts straight before you come into the United States, and to bring proof with you in order to have a better chance of winning asylum, especially if you're, as I've stated previously, that if you're from a Latin American country, your chances are a lot slimmer of being granted asylum. Apart from the need to have your facts straight and to prove it, the other problem is that a lot of times the person is being persecuted by someone who is not the government. And usually that's under social category, not the political category or the religious category. So a lot of times the person is being persecuted by a private citizen. It happens a lot in domestic violence cases where the boyfriend or the spouse or the father of the children is persecuting the person. And they unfortunately don't go to the police. And they always say, well, the police is not going to help me when they're arguing their case. But they usually don't have enough proof, or the judge doesn't believe that the proof is strong enough. So it's very important, if you speak to family members or others who are being persecuted in their home country, to tell them that it's important that they try to go to the police or to the authorities in the home country and try to see if they can get help there before they come to the United States. What's the reason for that? Well, it's hard to say that your government is not going to protect you when you haven't attempted to find help from them. So a lot of times that works against you. There are circumstances where there's enough proof that the government hasn't been helping abused women or people who have different sexual preferences, or people who are being threatened by gangs and things like that. But it's a lot harder if you don't report it to the police, to the military, to some sort of authority in your country that you can get help from. Because one of the things you either have to prove that it's the government that's persecuting you, or that the government cannot and will not help you. So it's better and stronger for your case to prove that. It's happened to me in many of my cases. The people already come into the United States applying for asylum. They've been interviewed previously at the border, and they already told the official that no, they didn't try to get help from the police or the government. And what happens is, if they want to say now that they did try, then they're going to be asked, well, why did you change your story? Why didn't you say that when you originally entered? Now you're giving us a different story. So see how both of these things that you need to prove can cause problems, because they don't believe you if you don't have the proof. And it's important to make sure that you cover both of these things. So you have all the facts, you have your proof, and that before you enter the United States, and while you're being persecuted, unless it's the government persecuting, because no one will expect you to approach the government to protect you when they're the ones persecuting you. So it's important to remember these two things that help you, these two areas of asylum that are necessary. One is to make sure that your story is believable. You have to be found credible. Your testimony can be enough to win the case, but it's better to have proof that supports your testimony, or the witnesses also are helpful. A lot of times that's difficult. I know it's difficult to get proof from your country ahead of time, or even to bring it later on, but it's better to have proof, and it makes your case stronger. And at the same time, one of the requirements is that you have to attempt to see if the government can help you, so that way you have a stronger argument to say that the government will not help you or cannot help you, because you've already tried to get help from them. And I've seen cases. I had two cases recently, well, not recently, but over the last couple of years, where one person, basically the same case, they were both abused women, and one person had proof that they went to the police. In fact, even they went to the police, and there was a family member of the persecutor who was a police officer, but they still went to the police, and that case was won. And it was more difficult. We had to work out a deal for a case where the woman never went to the police, and it was a lot harder case to have a positive result. All right, and so we'll be speaking soon about another subject.